Welcome to Mixing Up Midlife, the weekly podcast for women in their 50s and beyond who want to explore this incredible age by being more adventurous and more curious. I'm Terri.
And I'm Melissa. And on this week's episode, we are recapping the Golden Bachelor finale. And we have a very special guest. It happens to be my daughter calling in from San Diego.
Yes, to give us the POV of a 20-something and a Bachelor Nation aficionado.
Yes, for many years, Allison has been trying to get me to watch multiple seasons with her. And I think we've watched a couple maybe together, Allison, but I just couldn't get into it. And when she told me the Golden Bachelor was coming out and we started following it and we decided to do it, Terri, you and I just went in full force. And Allison and I have been doing a little bit of recapping on our own when we talk.
How dare you?
I know. But it was so interesting to hear these points of view that we thought we'd bring her on, hear her opinion of the finale, as well as the series in general and how it compares to other bachelors and bachelorettes.
And I, Allison, especially want to know, did it change anything? Did you have preconceived ideas about the Golden Bachelor or older people dating in general? Did it change anything for you? Did it give you any sort of feels? But first of all, welcome, Allison.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk about The Bachelor and pop culture. It's my favorite thing to do.
Me too.
We might have to hire you as our pop culture add-on.
I know all about it.
Okay, so let's get into it, Allison. First of all, what did you think when they first announced the Golden Bachelor as something in Bachelor Nation? Were you excited?
No, I wasn't going to watch it. I was going to skip it. And I think the only reason I started watching it was because you two, it was the first time that my mom finally would watch it. And I was like, this is what I want to watch. Because I pictured really old grandpas and grandmas. And I was like, that's no fun. And then they ended up being all so hot and beautiful and funny. And I was like, oh, this is way better than the 20, 30-year-old. So it's
really,
it's
so a high bar.
Yeah. So why did you think that? Why did you think it was better?
It was way more sincere. It was like they aren't there to get followers on Instagram. They're there because probably their grandchildren signed them up. They're not there for fame. And just watching like the journey and the friendships was my favorite part. I have said this before. I felt very Barbie with like the girl friendships and really loved that.
You felt like it was Barbie. That's hilarious and such a current thing to say. Allison, God, I love you.
I didn't even know that term. Very Barbie. Okay.
That was very Barbie. But that was one of the things that your mom and I both said, that Melissa and I were both saying this entire time, how much we loved seeing these friendships develop and how it wasn't about tearing the women down. Although, you know, there was that weird little thing between Kathy and Teresa. Teresa was getting on Kathy's very last nerve, and I understood that as well. But it's just so nice to hear you say that. What other questions did we have, Melissa? Because now I'm like, oh my God, I could just talk and go off the rails.
Well, in general, is the formula different than other bachelors? I know they did it nice to us older people that they kept it at an hour. Which, thank God. I couldn't have done this if all these episodes were 2 hours. But did they do anything else differently?
I think they contrived less drama, and like they usually purposely have a villain. And I'm glad. I mean, I know Kathy kind of, but like I don't think like they should do that and would want to do that. And honestly, that's why I didn't love the finale, because I wish they gave, spoiler alert, Teresa a better edit, because she just didn't seem like the winner. And I just wanted a smooth love story. Like no one was watching the show for drama. I don't think everyone was watching it for like the sincere part of it.
Yeah, and I think, Terri, you and I were really focused so much of this on how are they portraying the women? What are the women going to be like? Oh, we love the women. The women are having fun. Look what how they're dressing, what they're doing, how active they are. But then it kind of got serious in the end, and we realized this is a kind of a skanky game that people play with people's emotions. And Allison, you had asked me before how I rated it, and I rated it high, and and it sounds like you didn't like the finale.
I hated the finale.
I rated it high because it was emotional. I felt things and I had opinions. Not because I loved the way it went and what happened, but it kind of got real, I think, and it kind of got a little ugly.
Allison, what did you rate the finale?
Ooh, for those reasons, it was still a good finale because I guess I did not see it coming at all.
Really?
No, I really thought in like the Leslie one-on-one too, he gave so many words of affirmation. He literally said,
Right?
"You're my girl." He said,
Yes.
"I can't live without you." And he kept saying over and over, "Ooh, it's who you can't choose, like you can't live without."
Yes.
So I was like, "Oh, it's Leslie." I always told my mom he sounds like Bernie from Sesame Street.
That's so true. Now that you've said it, I can't unhear it.
Yeah.
I think, though, Allison, you were the one that first said a few episodes ago, I think it might be Teresa. When I was thinking it was full on, it was Leslie.
Yeah, I did. I said that, but I was really hoping it was Leslie because I knew that he has said so much that it was going to put him in a bad light. And I was like, I hope he doesn't do that to himself. I was thinking about the grandchildren and the kids watching that. I would be like, oh, don't say that, grandpa. Like, he said way too much.
So, you know what was interesting about this whole thing? Okay, so, we don't have to do a full-on recap, and I think most of our audience doesn't really want to hear the full-on recap, but we definitely have opinions and thoughts about all of this. But I will agree with both of you. He said 100%, "You're my girl." He kept saying that to Leslie over and over and over again. And "I love you." And he was so in it with Leslie. And then one night in the fantasy suite changed everything with Teresa.
My theory is that it was the influence of his own kids and stuff at the end, because all of a sudden I started seeing these relationships through his kids' eyes, and I'm like, I bet they're encouraging him off camera for Teresa. Because if I was looking at my parent and knowing who he is and where he comes from and where they live and their lifestyle, and I was looking at those two women, I'd be like, Leslie's quite a different person than him and quite a different lifestyle.
Like quite a different person than their mom.
Right. So I'm wondering about that.
Yeah, and not that they want to replace their mom, but I think for their dad, they would want somebody who had a parallel life to their mom or was similar in that they were with one person for a really long time. But what did you think, Allison, about the fantasy suite?
Well, I agree with you guys. We always said in our house with my roommates that Teresa's very grandma next door. I came in, she'd give me a snack or something. And Leslie, celebrity. She had Prince write a song. She's also 10 years younger. I also think that Teresa is a comfortable love that he's familiar with. And I think it was Teresa from their first date when she put her hand on his shoulder when the lights went out in the car and he's like, "Thanks for that." I think that was really important.
I often remember him commenting about how they make him feel and security and stuff. He said many things throughout the season that made him think that's what he was looking for in a wife.
I think Teresa's a really good partner to have in your porch era, which is your porch era is when you're old and you're just sitting on a porch and you're just watching people.
No, there is no porch era for us.
Yeah. When you're really old, like granddad.
No, your mom and I are never having a porch era.
I'd love a porch era with my partner.
Oh my God. So wait. Is the porch era going to be the new coastal grandmother?
Deck era.
Did you guys not think he reacted kind of weird when he found out that she had financially really stable and a good job? Yeah.
I think that too.
He mentioned it to his kids and I was like, ding, 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 financial security.
Yeah.
And that actually,
that
I don't know if
reporter thing.
Exactly. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that right now. I think we should.
Yeah.
We're right here, right now. So let's talk about the Hollywood Reporter. What did you call it, Allison? A hit piece?
Hit piece.
learning all the new lingo, portrayal, hit piece. I had never heard that before.
Wow.
Yeah, so
The piece on Jerry.
yeah, hit piece on Jerry from the Hollywood Reporter, kind of deep digging into his background a bit and saying how he kind of lied, or the producers lied, or somebody lied.
I think
about
they embellished a lot to promote him as a restaurateur versus having sold a hamburger chain when he was younger. And still, he had a business. He built
Right.
it up. I mean, that's not bad, but it isn't true to what his actual career trajectory was, and that he was installing hot tubs and things like that and doing odd jobs, which is fine.
Absolutely, but
yeah.
not as glamorous as a retired restaurateur. Exactly. But also, this Hollywood Reporter hit piece, I'm so down with it here, said that he was pretty quickly involved with somebody after his wife died. Now, this is all alleged and from the Hollywood Reporter, but, you know, it makes me think, what else is in his closet?
Yeah, he definitely did not mention anyone other than his wife. And I don't know if anyone asked him outright. And he did dodge every bullet about, have you been with anybody, or that kind of thing, you know, which is fine. You don't need to talk about your sex life. But he really did present it as, I have not kissed another woman since my wife died.
Right.
Which isn't true.
Well, we don't know that it is or it isn't.
Oh, well, yeah.
Right.
Do you guys believe it? Like, do you think when there's smoke, there's fire always?
Yes.
I do too.
Yeah. I absolutely believe he's a good-looking guy.
And he obviously is used to being around a woman and getting validation from a relationship with a woman.
Right.
Which men need more than women, by the way.
Some men, I think.
Men annoy me. I mean, I just hate, like, going backwards a little bit with him being like, I meant it when I said it. And I'm like, then your words hold no value, and, like, they don't hold the same value as mine. I do not tell someone, you're my girl, you're the one yesterday, and then say I changed my mind. Like, my words hold more value than 24 hours.
100%.
And I also believe, so they have barely spoken. Well, they've been talking on the phone, which I thought was kind of funny because it brought up, like, that's how we used to have relationships. You talk on the phone.
Long distance, 100%.
Long distance relationships. Yeah. But now they're going to get married within the month, where they still don't know each other all that well, I don't think. So who's to say that this is even going to work for the two of them? Allison, does this usually happen with bachelors and bachelorettes?
No, but you're going to get mad at me. But I was going to ask you, is this like an older thing of like, there's not as much time to waste, right? So it's just like, I don't think there's any point of, if you're going to get married, then get married now.
A couple of things. Yes, I do think it is probably something, because why? At our age and above, you know what you want. You don't have as much time. I mean, it is a clinical.
But at the same time, the decisions that you make in marriage, I hope they do the whole prenup thing, because it affects your heirs and things like many other people right now. It's not just the two of you.
Yeah, if Teresa is as smart as I think she is, then she's going to be ironclad, right?
True.
If she's got the money. What were we just talking about? Getting married and how they're jumping to it. From what they said, they've been dating over the phone for 8 months now. 8 months. They've been dating,
yeah.
which is weird not to see somebody for 8 months. Do you think they actually didn't see each other? I think they had to have.
Bachelor they're called fantasy weekends, and they usually, in the past, I don't know with Golden Bachelor, but all the bachelors and bachelorettes, they have them sneaky, like, get an Airbnb or something, and sometimes they would even, like, wear wigs so they can, like, go on a walk. But they probably had some fantasy weekends, so they had some in-person time.
That makes sense. The other thing, and this is a little weird that I'm going to say, I want to ask Allison, is it normal that they would get married so quickly?
No, they usually date forever and then break up in The Bachelor. They never make it to the altar.
That's funny. Okay, so both of them, both Teresa and Jerry, said, we don't know how long we have. We don't have that much time, that much more time, or something along those lines. And I actually thought that was a little weird because, yeah, I know they're 70 years old, but I did think it was a weird thing to say multiple times. They didn't just say it once, they said it multiple times, both of them. Did either of you notice, and I don't really want to dwell on how people look, but did either of you notice Gary looked a little
Peaked?
different? He did.
Did
looked-
he? I did
to
not
me,
look that closely.
he looked
looked
really
what?
thin. He looked thin. He looked a little tired, a little gray, and I don't mean his hair. He didn't look quite right to me. So I hope he's okay.
That was not something I considered.
And then I wondered if that's the case, if she knew. Maybe it's just me and I'm
Well, he was
looking
definitely hyped up, tanned up, prepped up for the Costa Rica and all that. He was probably never in better shape than he was when he was with all those women.
I think
True.
stress will also really do it, especially at that age. He's in a really stressful situation right now, and he's probably aging like the president, and he's already old.
I love that you just compared the Golden Bachelor Gary to the president of the United States.
He's like the
Oh my
president.
gosh.
That's
Oh
the thing.
God, love the 20.
He's not that old.
The 20-year-olds are great.
And then did you guys notice that? But this is just because he has a hearing aid. But I kept seeing it on TikTok how he would like mouth what Teresa was saying.
Oh, someone pointed that out.
I saw that. And did Melissa tell you? Oh, this is hilarious. You're going to love this. I had it recorded on my DVR because, yes, we still have cable. And then I set up my iPad. I FaceTimed your mom so she could watch the first half live.
It was just zoomed out to her living room screen. So that's how I watched the first half of it.
Meanwhile, I'm running around
She's
the house
cleaning and dusting.
like squinting at the screen.
So I might have missed some nuances because of the distance.
But that was only the first half,
Mhm.
right after Leslie came on live on the finale, right?
And
Isn't
berated
that where
him,
we
yes.
stopped? Yes, and berated him. Thank God. You know, as well she should have. Here's the thing that I don't agree with. For Gary to have told either one of them, unless he was 1,000% sure that this was my person that I'm going home with. Like you said, Allison, don't say I love you. Don't say you're my girl. I want my life with you. Absolutely no. That is a terrible thing to do to any person. But at this age,
And especially to Leslie, who has appeared to have been burned multiple times. She's so sensitive and tender at this point, and he couldn't have done that to a worse person. And she implied that he said things off camera and as well that didn't even make it to screen.
I think he must have said to her in the fantasy suite because we already saw what he said on camera. So I don't know how much more. He literally, I'm pretty sure, said, I think you're the one. So the only thing I think he could have said to her in the fantasy suite that she wouldn't want to say out loud was something like, Teresa's not it. And like she wouldn't want to put Teresa in that situation. But I thought it was really kind of cruel almost how he kind of used what Leslie's obvious insecurity is that her not having long relationships. And he says, Teresa knows how to really nurture a long relationship. And I think he liked that she had a long, like, similar path, and it's not Leslie's fault. But
I totally agree with you. I caught that as well. And I was like, that's kind of okay. He's making a choice. Clearly, he's choosing safety. Remember the episode we did where it was Costa Rica? It was adventure of a lifetime and excitement versus safety and security. And Leslie is adventure of a lifetime, and Teresa is safety and security. And he chose safety and security. Allison, do you think he chose right?
Yes, I think he did. I think he shouldn't have said what he said, but I think in the long run of that comfortable, Leslie's 10 years younger too. So if he's like talking about, we don't know how much time we have left. I don't know how much that comes into consideration, but like when you're that old and there's a 10-year age difference, is that something you think about?
Wait 1 second. Can I tell you something really quickly? when you're 20, 70 seems so old. When you're almost 60, it's like, you're a young chicken. Remember this moment right now. It's wild, Allison. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I have a question for you guys. Do you think the type of love that you want when you're 70 is different than when you're 20? Because I think if Jerry was 20, he would have chose Leslie. He wants that
Yes.
exciting love. Yeah. And then when you're 70, you don't really care for that. You just kind of want a companion that'll like sit and chill. Like it's not like passionate.
I don't know. Your mom and I, neither one of us can really answer that because we've been with the same person for 30 some odd years. So it's really hard to say.
Yeah, I agree. I think we might have discussed this at some point, though, Terry, and said, like, would we want adventure versus safety? And we both said adventure. So, I mean, I don't know about the type of love, but for the rest of my life, I would choose adventure.
I wonder from a male perspective, too, like what dad would want if he was old. And like, I mean, but dad's like, oh, dad would say adventure probably. But I feel like it also depends on like your health also. Like how are you feeling? Are you going to be up off the couch or you just want to sit?
Right. Are you going to be in your porch era? Or are you going to be
in your hanging from a waterfall era that Leslie had to go through? Jeez.
I know. He put her through the ropes and he didn't do any of that with Teresa. But what would the opposite of your porch era be at this age? So not a porch era.
Are you asking us or are you asking the 20-year-old?
The 20-year-old. No, I want to hear it from the I don't want to
okay.
I want to hear what your 20-year-old has to say.
Well, so porch era is something I think I just made up. It's kind of like I think I got it from How I Met Your Mother. They would say like you just try to envision like would I be able to sit with on a porch swing and just do nothing when I'm super old and like they wouldn't like they'd be okay with it. I guess the opposite is just you're out and about and just doing you're not sitting around like a potato sack.
Oh my God, I also love this perspective. Let's get back to the Golden Bachelor. What else stood out for you all?
After watching it, I'm more kind of turned off on the type of show it is in general. I hate to say it. I mean, it's not going to pull me in to watch the next Bachelor because I don't really like the formula. I don't like watching people get their hearts broken. I heard someone suggest maybe they should do something that's more akin to, what is that Bachelor thing where they all go on beaches and they all mix up and meet other people.
Bachelor in Paradise?
Bachelor in Paradise. But then someone said, no, that's horrible. You wouldn't want them doing that because that's all about the drama. But it's like I would want multiple people meeting people, not just one. Not just one winner.
Them all on like in Florida or like on a cruise or something.
No.
Oh my God, Allison.
Stop it.
Bachelor in Paradise is like Mexico. And like that's like party area. What are you talking about?
Ageist.
No cruises.
I'm thinking of Grandma Ann though. Like Grandma Ann would love a cruise.
Oh, she loved the cruise. And she met people all the time on a cruise.
That's true. I know people love cruises. I know they do. It's just not, unless it's maybe Antarctica. That I would do. Or those like small adventure cruises. Or maybe even a 190-foot yacht cruise like below deck.
Did you guys cry?
I did not cry. Did you cry, Melissa?
I didn't cry, but I got emotional for Leslie when she got emotional. 'Cause it hurts me to see someone that upset.
That didn't hit me right.
Really? Do you think she milked it or?
No. I just felt really bad for her. But in saying that, I also think that what she said at the end, where she was glad that she opened her heart up for love, I think she will find somebody amazing. I think she'll find somebody amazing who has the integrity that she thought Jerry had and who loves her for who she is and who can handle her more trauma, it seems, filled background. So I'm hoping that for her. Allison, this is my question to you, because your mom and I have talked about this quite often, I think, as well. Who are your favorites of the women? Because, we love the women. But who did you love and why?
Susan, and honestly, I like Kathy. I think Kathy is somebody that I would love if that was like one of my friends' moms. Like, she seems so fun. And I think she just has a humor that if you're not in person for it, you don't get it. But she was obviously friends with everybody. Everyone loved her.
Right.
So she's not an evil person. I loved Susan. I mean, she was just girl's girl through and through. And like, I loved how she would like cry with the other girls. I also really liked watching their reactions to I think
On the
they
finale?
great. So you guys asked, I think, when did I know that it wasn't Leslie? And I really didn't know until like he literally was like, it's not you. But I was getting the feeling because of, I think the women knew because they're friends with Leslie, and they were kind of like flinching a little before it happened, where she was like, what's wrong? And he's like, nothing's wrong. And then he ended up coming back. But
I wonder if they knew. There must be a
They must have known.
network out there.
yeah.
I do think Leslie probably told them. And I think through this experience, they've all become really, really close. And that's something, I don't know if that's normal in the Bachelor, Bachelorette land. I know Bachelor Nation, even within different seasons, certain women will become close. But does that happen a lot in their own season?
With the girls.
It does
It's
happen.
very sorority in the other ones, yeah.
What would you like to see television-wise? If you were a producer of a reality show, what would you like to see happen with the women who have big characters, big energy?
I want them to have a podcast.
Just a podcast? Well, that's going to be taking away from us.
I think
You want them to come on our podcast.
Reality TV is like I love them so much, and I don't want them like to get hurt from like media or anything. And
yeah,
I don't think it's them necessarily they'll find love through reality TV either. I think they had their fun, they made their friends, and I think they'll find stuff organically now. But I think they should keep a sisterhood somehow.
I've seen Askin, that's April, Susan, Kathy, and Nancy. I think I've seen the four of them doing Zoom things. So maybe they are already doing a podcast. And quite honestly, that's probably a good place for them to be. And I think they could be really successful, especially Susan's hilarious.
Mhm.
Question, do you think Susan's going to marry them? Teresa and
Officiate.
Oh,
Jerry.
yes. I don't know, because they don't seem like they like Jerry anymore, right? They seem
They
a
don't.
sour taste. I feel like she might not.
Okay. But Susan, out of all of them, seems the most Switzerland.
Open. And she said that she's got really close to Jerry, so I don't know.
Maybe if they asked her, she would do it. I'm sure she wouldn't be like, no, because that's like, I don't think she'd want to take it very far.
Do you care to watch the wedding, though?
No, I think
Was that a loaded question?
I think that makes it seem so much less. Like, it makes it seem money hungry, and like I don't know why they did, because that wasn't the point of Golden Bachelor. The whole thing was it felt very sincere love, and like, why are you televising your wedding? I'm sure they got a lot of pressure from producers, but
sure, I absolutely agree with you. Though I have zero interest in watching it, and I probably won't because I don't really care.
I'm done with it. It's over now.
It is, as you said, it was about finding love, doing this experiment, showcasing women and men having love at a certain age. Did anything sort of give you the ick about any of this, Allison, with love at an older age?
with the whole concept, no, it made it way more the opposite of ick. I thought I didn't want to watch at the beginning, and then I ended up liking it more. It was way better in the love, and it made me realize that I was being silly before, thinking of old grandpas, and they weren't. And no, but that's the thing. It wasn't. It was very nice to see.
Would you want to watch a Bachelorette?
No, because I think it's easy to find a lot of great women to date. I think it's tougher to find a lot of great old men to date. And I also don't really care. I've always enjoyed watching The Bachelor more than The Bachelorette, also because I like watching the girls and the sisterhood and stuff. And it's not as fun to watch all the men like fight over.
But they
So
probably
was-
will do one. So who do you think would be the Bachelorette when they choose one?
Well, the obvious person's Leslie now. Don't you think?
Do you
I
think-
hope they don't do it.
I
over her.
don't.
She
I don't
just
want
can't take
Leslie.
it.
Well, I don't think that's true. I
No.
think she can take it, but I think I would like to see. I'd still like to see Faith. Faith looked pissed off, by the way. That entire...
I didn't even recognize Faith. She looked very different. I
They're-
think if they do it, it would be someone like Joan or someone who wasn't so involved in the end.
Yeah. Allison, this was so fun to talk about Golden Bachelor with you. It was fun having that 20-something POV. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for
Love
hope
seeing
you're
you. Love you.
Melissa, that was really fun having Allison. How was it for you?
It was so fun to see her because we don't FaceTime. We just talk. So selfishly, it was better in more than one way.
Good. So that is our Golden Bachelor recap. Melissa, that is it for us this week. Yes?
I think so.
Have a great week. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.